Hey guys, in today's video I'll be doing another tropical update on Hurricane Eta. And before I really jump in and start talking about how Hurricane Eta is looking now and everything that's going on with Eta currently, I want to show you guys something really important that Philip Klotzbach, the main meteorologist from Colorado State University, he just tweeted 23 minutes ago that the 2020 Atlantic hurricane season has now generated 154 ACE, accumulated cyclone energy. That's what ACE stands for those of you who don't know. And officially meeting the NOAA definition of an extremely active season. 2020 is the 11th Atlantic hurricane season in the satellite era since 1966 to be classified extremely active. #Eta. So, yeah, it's official. The 2020 Atlantic hurricane season is now a hyperactive or extremely active Atlantic hurricane season. 2017 was the last Atlantic hurricane season that was officially classified as hyperactive. The one before that was, I would say, something like 2010, and before that it was definitely 2005. So, this is insane. Truly a remarkable stat there. This is a true feat for the 2020 Atlantic hurricane season, making it officially a true rival of the 2005 Atlantic hurricane season for the most insane, crazy, and active Atlantic hurricane season on record. All right, now jumping into Hurricane Eta, and currently, as of the 1 p.m. advisory, Hurricane Eta is a 140 mile per hour Category 4 hurricane, pressure's at 940 millibars, and it is now moving west at only 3 miles per hour. It is actually almost making landfall. It is very close to making landfall. In fact, I gotta say, I think it's going to be making landfall extremely soon. It's got to be making landfall probably within the next hour or so. I think it might have already made landfall, in all honesty. So, yeah, it's pretty much for certain that it's going to be making landfall at very soon. Hurricane Eta. Here's the new forecast cone. This is the most up-to-date forecast cone from, I believe, the 10 a.m. advisory. And you can see it's about to make landfall. It will likely make landfall probably quite soon, if not it has already. And you can see with this forecast cone, it will go over Nicaragua, Honduras, Belize, Guatemala, and then once it gets towards Honduras, Guatemala, Belize, it will start to curve back towards the north and east, and then go back over the Western Caribbean, and then re-intensify back to a tropical storm. So that's very interesting. We're really going to have to see if its center is able to maintain itself through the time it starts to curve back over water, because then it would stay as Eta. It would still be classified as being named Eta. But if Eta's center falls apart, but it re-intensifies back to a tropical storm and gets a new center, it would be officially named Theta, the next name on the Greek alphabet list, and that's the next name that's the next name on the list now. So we're really gonna have to watch this very closely and see potentially what will happen with Eta as it goes over the Central America. But in any case, Hurricane Eta will bring devastating amounts of rainfall and especially storm surge. Storm surge amounts, in fact, I want to, in fact, show you guys this. This is, I just saw this recently on the Weather Channel, and let me see if I can find this here. Maybe it's not on here. No, it's not. I texted it to one of my friends. I have a picture of it here. Here it is. Look at this. Storm surge amounts, literally where Eta is and where the center is making landfall. Storm surge amounts for that very northern central coast of Nicaragua could see as high as 14 to 21 feet of storm surge, and then the southern coastline of Honduras could see up to 3 to 5 feet of storm surge. But 14 to 21 feet of storm surge, that's insane. That's if this were to occur and we get official storm surge amounts of close towards that 21 feet area, this would make Eta, I believe, the worst tropical cyclone in terms of storm surge amounts since Katrina. So so we're really gonna have to watch this very closely to see if that actually does in fact happen, because that's insane. That's going to really inundate all of those areas, especially of course along the coast. So all those areas will be wiped out and totally flooded out, and all that water will continue to push very far inland. So even far inland areas from the coastline will see very insane amounts of flooding, and especially on top of all the rainfall flooding they'll be seeing. So yeah, this is truly insane. Let's go to tropical tidbits, and let me show you the satellite imagery currently for Eta. And you can see it's moving very slowly, nearing the coastline of Nicaragua. It will almost make landfall. You can see there's actually been a recent big blow up of -80 to even, again, -90-degree cloud tops there in and around the center. So that's very interesting. There has been some talk about potentially maybe it'll re-strengthen slightly before making landfall. It is currently at 140 miles per hour, so if it does re-strengthen at all before landfall, it will probably re-strengthen back towards a 145 mile per hour Cat 4 by landfall. But we'll have to see. But you can see there, we can still see that center of Eta is really starting to come back and make itself known again. So that's very interesting. And yeah, I think it will likely make landfall. In fact, I'm going to pause this once we get to, yeah, there we go. So you can see the center there is literally just off the coast of Nicaragua. So I would say that Nicaragua, you guys will see the landfall of Eta probably within the next hour, most likely. I gotta say, I think that's for certain going to happen, because it's literally just off the coast there. So that's really insane. And also, by the way, I really want to say this right now. Last night, Eta got to a peak intensity, the National Hurricane Center found, of 150 miles per hour with a pressure of 923 millibars. I think with the way Eta looked with satellite imagery, and just the fact that the NHC found the lowest pressure in the low 920s, I think that's enough. And even the recon planes found some gusts and such of up into that Category 5 status. I think Eta ended up being a Category 5 hurricane in the end, of between 160 to 170 miles per hour. And I think on post-analysis, as we get towards January, February, they will officially make that declaration. Because it's official, as of right now, its official peak intensity of 150 miles per hour and 923 millibars. That is very close in terms of wind speed to that Category 5 status. So I definitely think it will end up being a Category 5 hurricane. So there is that huge news there. So that's pretty insane there. Here is the intensity guidance. You can see it's going to really rapidly weaken when it goes over Central America naturally. But with that potential of it curving back out into the Western Caribbean, going towards the end of this work week, towards the weekend, and it goes back over the Western Caribbean with those warm waters there, I think it will start to re-intensify a bit, start to get back towards that tropical storm status, and we'll have to see from that point what happens. We're really going to have to watch and see potentially if it ends up being a U.S. threat, because as you can see, the hurricane model track guidance has that potential of it curving back into the Western Caribbean, hitting Cuba, and then even potentially impacting Florida. The west coast of Florida has not gone under any kind of tropical cyclone alerts of like any tropical storm warnings, watches, hurricane warnings, or watches at all this hurricane season. So that's very interesting. We're going to have to really watch that closely. And then potentially maybe it'll go back out over the Gulf and hit the Gulf Coast somewhere towards that Florida panhandle or Alabama, Mississippi coastline. We'll have to see, but very interesting stuff there. We're going to have to really monitor and see how the system fares between now and going over Central America, and see if its center is able to maintain itself before it goes back over the water. And then we'll see once it does go back over the water going towards Friday, Saturday, if it's able to still have that maintained center, and see what it'll do from that point. So that'll be a very key thing to watch. Here's the GEFS Ensemble Model Track Guidance, and you can see kind of the same thing with what the Hurricane Model Track Guidance was showing, curving back over the Western Caribbean, going over Cuba, and then nearing Florida in the U.S. So we're going to have to really watch that closely as well. Even though surprisingly, here's the thing, surprisingly the GEPS, which is the CMC Ensemble Model Track Guidance, also kind of shows the general same thing. So that's very interesting that even the CMC is starting to get on board and actually show an accurate outlook for the potential of Eta moving forward into next week of what it could be doing as we go into next week. So that's very interesting. We're really going to have to watch that extremely closely. But yeah, it's very, very, very interesting system, to say the least, that we have seen. But yeah, here is I'll show you the GFS and CMC rainfall. Bring this forward. You can see it goes over Central America, and then it goes back over the Western Caribbean, as you can see there. But here's the total accumulated precipitation according to the GFS model, and you can see lots of areas. Nicaragua's northern coast where Eta will make landfall, and then the northern parts of Honduras, Guatemala, Belize could see also up to 2+ feet of rainfall. Locally, some rainfall amounts could be as high as 30 to 40 inches of rainfall. So again, that rainfall on top of the potential of that record high amount of storm surge being forecasted, that is going to really spell trouble and potentially cause the system to be one of the most impactful tropical cyclones in terms of flooding disasters ever in the Atlantic Basin. So that's really going to be interesting to see potentially what the official amounts of rainfall and official storm surge amounts will end up being. So that is what the GFS is showing for total rainfall. Here is what the CMC model is showing in terms of total rainfall. Generally the same story. You can see up towards that 2+ feet of rainfall for Nicaragua, northern Honduras, Belize, Guatemala. So very, very dire outlook for rainfall as well, according to the CMC model. So this is a big problem. This is a really big problem. Now, all right. So now, in fact, I do want to show you guys the MJO, how we're doing with the MJO, because that's really going to spell out potentially what we could be seeing in terms of potential, a bit more potential of tropical cyclones, and see the potential of how many more tropical cyclones we could see between now and the end of November. And November 30th, for those of you who don't know, November 30th is the official end of the Atlantic hurricane season. And I want to show you guys that MJO forecast according to the CFS model, because that's really going to help us see into the future of the potential of how likely it is to see a bit more of tropical cyclones forming. And as you can see, between now, November 3rd, November 10th, and then even November 10th through November 17th, the Atlantic will be dominated by that conducive phase of the MJO, which will make it even easier of a time for tropical cyclones to develop, especially closer to home in that Caribbean, subtropics region, and out in the Western Atlantic. So that's very interesting. They're going towards the end of November, it looks like, and then of course going to December, we'll be going back into that singing phase of the MJO, which will really suppress any more tropical cyclone activity. So the good news of what I'm showing you here is that it seems once we get past mid-November or so, tropical cyclones, the chance of any more tropical cyclone formation for the 2020 Atlantic hurricane season will significantly drop, and it seems that once we get past mid-November, we'll really see the hurricane season finally come to a close. And man, really, that's going to be one of the big things we're really praying for and really thanking everyone for, because I mean, this hurricane season, it was a really rough time going through this whole hurricane season with how active it was and how many damaging storms we've had hit the U.S. And how intense a lot of those storms, in fact, became as well. So that's some nice positive news there, according to the potential of the MJO forecast there. So yeah, that's some good news there. So yeah, I wanted to at least bring in some good news in this video, with all this insane, terrible news about how Eta has really intensified and the damage potential it will potentially inflict on Central America, some of those Central America countries. So yeah, really wanted to put in some of that good news. But in any case, here's the 2020 Atlantic hurricane season Wikipedia page. And again, as I've been saying all throughout this video, and just really kept saying throughout pretty much all of the videos I've been putting out over the past at least couple of months, that this year's Atlantic hurricane season has been the most active Atlantic hurricane season on record since 2005. As of right now, it is officially tied with 2005 for the most active Atlantic hurricane season on record, with a total of 28 named storms, 29 total depressions, 12 hurricanes, and 5 major hurricanes. With the now official total of 12 hurricanes so far this hurricane season, there have been only 3 other hurricane seasons which have had 12 or more hurricanes total. Of course, there was 2005, which held the record for most hurricanes in any hurricane season at 15, and then there was 2012 that got to 12 hurricanes, I believe. Let me fact check this, just so I'm giving you guys factual information, just so. Oh, sorry, no. Hurricanes 2012 was 10 total. Maybe it was 2010 that had the total of 12 hurricanes. Let me just make sure. Let me see. Yeah, here. Hurricanes total, 12 hurricanes. So, 2010 was the last hurricane season that had 12 hurricanes total. 2005, as I said, had a total of 15 hurricanes. That's the record highest amount of total hurricanes ever in any Atlantic hurricane season. And then there was one other Atlantic hurricane season that also had a total of 12 hurricanes, but I forget which one that was. But in any case, yeah, this has been a crazy hurricane season in terms of total hurricanes as well. We've had 5 major hurricanes, and that is one short of the total major hurricanes we saw in 2017. We had 6 major hurricanes in 2017. And then, of course, 2005's Atlantic hurricane season holds the record for most amount of major hurricanes ever in any Atlantic hurricane season at 7. So, again, we got within 2 tropical cyclones away from tying 2005 for total major hurricanes as well. So that's very insane. We came within 3 tropical cyclones of tying 2005 in terms of record most amount of hurricanes in any hurricane season as well. So that's also insane. So this Atlantic hurricane season, especially going towards the rest of October through now, and even end of all of September through October through now, really made up for lost time with the amount of insane amounts of tropical cyclones intensifying and becoming strong tropical systems. The total ACE for this season is now at 147.55 units, officially putting the 2020 Atlantic hurricane season as now the 11th Atlantic hurricane season since the beginning of the satellite era in 1966 to be classified as a hyperactive or extremely active Atlantic hurricane season. So another big feat for this hurricane season. It's truly, truly insane, to say the least. Now here's Hurricane Eta again. It's a Category 4 hurricane. Likely will make landfall as a 140 mile per hour Category 4 hurricane with 940 millibars as its pressure. So yeah, this system is really going to be one hell of a hit for those people living in Nicaragua, Honduras, and a lot of those Central American countries there. Now, it's already killed 1 person. In fact, Eta's already killed 1 person. Epsilon caused minimal amounts of damage. Theta caused at or maybe a bit above $1.5 billion in damage. They're still figuring out how much total damage Gamma caused, but I would say Gamma probably caused generally minimal amounts of damage, maybe a couple $1 million in damage at most, I would say, but I think generally Gamma as well, like Epsilon caused minimal amounts of damage. Though Eta, total damage for Eta, man, with the potential forecast right now of the total rainfall and forecast for total storm surge amounts, Eta could cause, honestly, tens to maybe even hundreds of $1 billion in damage, because just with the amount, especially with, of course, the area it's hitting, the Central American countries like Nicaragua, Honduras, they're not very well equipped to deal with this kind of a massive a disaster. So if Eta does end up dropping, let's say, up towards that 40 inches of rainfall with storm surge amounts in some areas of as high as 21 feet, that will cause total damage in some areas to already be a few $1 billion, cost of at least a few $1 billion, at least maybe even a few tens of billions of dollars. So adding all of that together could end up being definitely the most costliest tropical cyclone of this hurricane season, and probably potentially even one of the most costliest tropical cyclones ever in the Atlantic Basin. So that's going to be really, really interesting to see, and to see if that will occur, because, again, this storm is going to be one hell of a hit for those regions. But again, we've had a total of 29 systems. Tropical Depression 10 did not become a named system, so we've had a total of 28 named storms, but a total of 29 systems counting Tropical Depression 10. Next name on the list is Theta. We'll have to see if Eta's center is able to maintain itself going through Central America and then reemerge into the Western Caribbean, because if it doesn't, then potentially, if it does in fact regenerate to a tropical storm like its current forecast shows, then it could end up being named Theta. So that's going to be very interesting to see when we could get Theta. And then the next name on the list after that is Iota. And between now and the end of November, I gotta say, I think we could see another 2-3 more name systems, maybe even another 4 name system. So this hurricane season still likely won't want to end for a good bit of a while. But the good news is that going towards the end, the second half, and towards the end of November, that it looks like the Atlantic hurricane season will finally officially die down and really come to a close by that point. So that is generally the only good news I can give you guys in this video for how the Atlantic hurricane season is looking. So it's yeah, otherwise it's not looking like a great hurricane season in the end. Of course, you guys already knew that, but yeah, it's just truly, truly insane hurricane season. In fact, I want to show you guys real quick before I close this video out. I want to show you guys what Hurricane Eta looked at peak intensity. Hurricane Eta looked like at peak intensity. Hurricane Eta peak intensity. Let's see if I go to images. Let's see. Will it show? Seems like this is what Hurricane Eta looked like in terms of it. I want to open image, a new tab. There, you can see that's pretty much what Eta looked like at peak intensity. You can see that very pinhole eye, very small eye. That's what really helped Eta as well become such a powerful system so quickly. And then, of course, you can see those very intense amounts of storms and convection all around the center. So that's it's one hell of a system. Truly looks, honestly, I gotta say, it definitely looks like a Category 5, a weak Category 5, I'll say it that. I think it got to between 160 to 170 mile per hour Cat 5, honestly, in the end. Maybe you guys disagree with me, that's fine, but please, if you do disagree with me, let's have a nice, respectful disagreement down in the comment section. But if you guys do agree with me, please comment down below if you do agree with me, because that'll be really nice to know if anyone does agree with me on that fact. So that is what Hurricane Eta looked like at peak intensity. Very, very well formed hurricane in the end. So truly beastly system, to say the least. But yeah, this has been it for today's video, guys. Really hope you enjoyed this video. This has been my update for Hurricane Eta, a very monstrous system that will bring tons of disastrous rainfall and storm surge effects to Nicaragua, Honduras, Belize, Guatemala, especially, of course, though, Nicaragua and Honduras. And really hope you guys living down there are prepared for this system. And if you did enjoy this video, if you found it informative, enjoyable, please consider liking the video, commenting on the video, and if you're a first-time viewer and you like what you saw in today's video, if you like this kind of content, I do tons of this kind of tropical content on my channel, so please consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.